Alright, hello everyone, it is a rainy Saturday afternoon here, and I am in my underground bunker with some channel updates and video corrections, so grab yourself a drink and listen along. General channel update, I'm changing descriptions around and sorting playlists, trying to neaten everything up because it's kind of a mess right now. Possible channel trailer 2 coming at some point if I can make something I like. Also, maybe short video introductions for each playlist series, I'm not quite sure yet. It also is in the same category with the channel trailer, if I can make something under 2 minutes that looks good to me. I've also opened a Twitter account. I made one so anyone can contact me there until I set up an email address at some point, don't know when. I'm going to be using that for public contact, so if you want, contact me there. And I may use it to live tweet events, probably E3 if you like video games. I kind of like video games, so you can find me there for more updates. It should probably be above the banner, in the banner at least. Besides that, more videos are coming, hoping to keep a bi-weekly schedule here. This update and another video that is probably going to come out at some point are going to count as this week's bi-weekly segments videos. I have a few months free right now, so I should be able to keep on top of it and maybe start a catalog of smaller back videos I can release if I'm not able to put one together in time. Around September, I'm not entirely sure what the schedule is going to look like after that. I'm still going to be dedicated to at least one video a month after that. Speaking of videos, playlists. Channel is generally focused on history and the internet, if you haven't figured that out by now. Kind of mixing the two of them. I generally prefer the history videos, but I do like making the internet videos. It's just they're kind of weirder to research because I have to seek through forums and whatnot and then try to remember what websites I used. It's just trying to find things that are substantial and have solid information. Probably 2 more series coming along eventually, and the bonus video I'm going to release later, probably this weekend. This should be going up around June 1st, so it's going to rotate around afterwards. All the major series I'm probably going to have released by then. I'm going to try to keep it segmented to a few series that I'm going to frequently work on and release videos for. The next 2 videos will be history focused. After that, I'm planning a video more in the vein of the Spanish Dragon Ball Super video, which it actually is the most viewed video on this channel. Nearly 1,000 views by now, I think. And I may have a special video coming out later, which I'm going to consider the bonus one, kind of bonus. I'm going to release it as a series along with update videos. These are going to be kind of sparse, so I'm going to want more content released with them because they're not really quality, but it's content at least. Now, moving on to the main section of the video, I'm going to be running through the videos I've released and clarify some mistakes and make some corrections. Planning on doing these every 6 or 7 videos, it depends. It should have been 6 videos, but the Dragon Ball Super video pushed this block over to 7 videos. Not too much effort in this video, just going to be running through corrections people have pointed out to me or I've noticed or forgot to put in, or because of my stupidity I did something I shouldn't have. I'm going to talk a little about each video before going into it, and then talk about the screw-ups and maybe a little background information, I'm not sure. So we're going to just dig into it right here. Sorry about that rustling that picked up. My microphone is pretty sensitive. I'm sitting pretty close to it. So let's go into the first video. I have released the Shalmanazar video over half an hour. It's very, very rough. I had little to no editing experience when making it. Probably could have been much shorter. It is way too long and way too complicated, despite being how simple the video is. I recorded it in a different area. That's probably why the audio sounds slightly different. The rest of them have been recorded in this bunker I have right now. So the Shalmanazar video was also created over 6 months on and off over, I believe last summer. Just before I had really idea what I wanted to do. And I just kind of went to it. And I say Shalmanazar in repetition way too much through the video, which if I ever redo it, I will probably fix. Not sure. It'll probably be a long time before I go back to that video, but I would like to redo it. I don't blame people for cutting out really early in the video. Now let's go through the timestamps. Around 1 minute, 11 seconds, I mispronounced Inés as Ins. It was meant to be Inés. I'm referencing the same person. It's just I screwed up the pronunciation because I didn't look it up for some reason and it's Scottish. Around 5 minutes, the Formosan Catechism I mentioned, as far as I'm aware, no more copies of it exist, or at least remain, and I couldn't find any references to it, so it's probably lost unless one eventually turns up somewhere, and God knows historical documents have a habit of doing that, but as far as I'm aware, there's no complete copy in existence. 646 timestamp, I referenced Samuel Palmer, who wrote A General History of Printing. It's not the same English Samuel Palmer as the artist Samuel Palmer. They have the same name. Not sure if they're related. I don't think so, but they lived nearly 100 years apart. Shalmanazar Samuel Palmer was a printer. The one who lived in the 18th century was an artist, I believe, but he lived nearly 100 years afterwards. So 950. The evidence on Shalmanazar's name is extremely circumstantial and theoretical. I just went into it because it's an interesting theory, but there's little proof beyond the copies, which very few of the Dutch books remain, so it can't be really supported or denied at this point. 1435. The picture is not the Dominican college Shalmaneser attended. I tried to make that obvious, but I'm not sure if it got across. It's just a picture of a Dominican college. I think it's from Illinois, from what the writing states, so that's all I have to say on that. 1738. Germany was still not united in Shalmaneser's time. Probably not for another 100 years. It wouldn't move towards the path of unity. It was still kind of controlled by the Holy Roman Empire, which was kind of decaying by this point. It wouldn't be united later, probably until Napoleon, I would say. It would eventually move towards union after that, but it would still take a long time. 21 minutes. Shalmaneser is not pronounced like Shalmaneser. I mixed that up and repeated the same pronunciation for some reason. So Salmaneser and Shalmaneser, two different pronunciations, but they're basically the same name, just differently pronounced. 2432. I believe it was Edmund Halley, the same one who discovered Halley's Comet, if you're curious, that questioned Shalmaneser at the Royal Society. The name's different, but Edmund Halley spelled his first name with a U and an O, so it could be the same one. I think it is, but it's possible it's a separate person. But I just state it's Edmund Halley because as far as I'm aware, his timeline lines up with Shalmaneser's. 35 minutes, last one here for the Shalmaneser video. The Complete System of Geography, or A Complete System of Geography, had a section ghostwritten by Shalmaneser. I didn't make it clear it was not entirely written by him, but the sections on Asia and Formosa were written by him, or at least ghostwritten by him. He went anonymous through the book until his death, and I don't believe it was found to be accredited to him until he released the memoirs, or the memoirs were released after his death. Second video, Caspar David Frederick. It's the first video I recorded in this new area, the one I'm in right now, though other factors like environmental and editing around the time I was making it. Some of the audio was kind of weird and fuzzy, which I noticed. I tried to fix it, but it's still tinny and slightly distorted, which if you try enough you can notice between sections. Some of it's okay, the rest isn't. I did try to fix it, but some sections, like I said, are very obviously different, but it's the same cohesive audio. It's the first video I felt like I had a full idea of the editing process when I made it, like the mechanics I wanted to go through and whatnot. Still has a few problems. It's a weird hybrid between the Shalmaneser video and my current videos, the way I put them together. It took 1 to 2 months to make. I was getting faster. I'm still really getting faster in research and creation, but I don't want to rush it because I want to make sure with the time period I have, it's at least cohesive. The creation was also speeding up itself in the videos, like the movement through the videos, I should say. Much shorter than a Shalmaneser video, and I'm dedicated to around 10-minute videos now. Not really pleased with it though. A lot of the transitions are bad and kind of janky. I would also probably go through and redo this one again, like the Shalmaneser video, because it was so early, but I'm not really going to waste time on it now. Though I do like the video's music. Dvorak, I believe, composer I used, the New World Symphony, lines up pretty good with the video. So into the timestamps here, around 2:03, 1807 looks weird and awkward due to how I altered the image. Still getting a hold of that. I figured out a new way to do that, but I was kind of a newbie back then, so that's why it looks really, really bad. 2:53, Goethe is pronounced like Goethe, not Gotha or Goth, despite how it looks. Blame German. 3:52. The transition on The Wanderer is really awkward. Even when making it, I didn't like it, but I had to settle for what I could go for. Would also go back and redo that. That's mainly why, just because how bad and awkward the transition is, and it's probably my biggest gripe of the entire video. 8 minutes. There's little info I can find on von Bricken, who's referenced through several sources on Frederick, so he's probably real, or at least there was some military figure that had the same amount of inspiration on the Wanderer video. That's all for that video, and let's go into the next one here. Alright, the big boy here, the Spanish Dragon Ball video. Definitely the most internet video I've made. I was also in a rush to make it before Super's final episode. I think it took around 10 days, and I was kind of rushing just to match the deadline so it could be relevant when it was put out. And I tried not to make it about a meme, really, more about how the internet creates weird cross-cultural phenomenon, and especially about Dragon Ball, which has been really big for a long time, especially in the Anglosphere and Hispanosphere, and kind of crossover there. I wasn't aware of Joe Capo's responsibility for bringing Gohan Blanco to YouTube. I was aware of him, actually from the very funny oat videos he made. I'm not sure if he still makes them, but I was shown them and they're funny. Basically, it originated on 4chan, and he adapted it to YouTube and kind of brought it its wider fame, so credit to him. The video was more looking at it from purely a perspective of its formation, sort of on the corners of the net. It is my most watched video with the most feedback too, so thank you all. I'm not sure if it's going to remain my most watched video. Hopefully I'll eventually make something definitely more interesting, but thank you all for the feedback and everything. Probably make another one like it in a month or two, not on the same subject matter, but sort of in the same strain, if you will. I hope the next one's going to be interesting. Be on the lookout for that, and you should probably believe it. Alright, timestamps. Around 1 minute. Definitely want to say I tried to credit fan animations, didn't want to make it look like saying they were mine. They are not. Clearly a lot of effort put into them. Go support the creators. I put them in the description. Definitely check them out. Most of them are in Spanish, I believe, but it doesn't really matter. They're actually pretty good. 333. AF doesn't have agreed upon definition. There were some people in the comments saying it was alternate future, and I said after future. There's no confirmed definition for what exactly AF means. Alternate future, after future, or even April Fools. So what it means to you depends on what source you take it from. 529. Looking back, I think the username is -GokuX20. I pronounced it -GokuXX, which I guess it could be, but that's just a guess. The spelling's ambiguous, and the DeviantArt account is long abandoned, so unless the user comes back and confirms it to us, I have no idea what the correct pronunciation is. 845, I did screw up. I dropped the S from esto es el fingeren for some reason. Wasn't paying attention. Completely on me. That's my mistake. Sorry about that. I have not good Spanish. I'm better at reading it than I am speaking it. 1015. As far as I can tell, the original video with the El Hermano thumbnail has been long deleted. I can't find it and I don't remember the user, but if someone can give them credit, I definitely add it to the video. So if you know, please tell me. 1046. No clue where the El Hermano versus Jared animation comes from. It's really solid. Joe Capo uploaded it to his YouTube channel, but he says he's not the creator, so I'm not sure where it came from. Probably a Spanish area. I first saw it on Dragon Ball Super Threads on A, so if anyone has a source, I'd love to know because it's really impressive, and I would like to support the animator/editor, even if it is just a redraw of a fight scene from Super, but it is pretty solid looking. 1258. It's supposed to be Shaggy Verde, Green Shaggy, not Shaggy Verdad, True Shaggy. I messed up pronouncing it Green Shaggy and Red Shaggy. It's not supposed to be True Shaggy, Green Shaggy. That's just my botched pronunciation. My favorite video so far, the Japonisme or Japonism video. Very fun to research and make. Very interesting subject. Probably my most striking one visually, thanks to all the artwork I got to use, and I tried to credit all the artists properly. Definitely helped with the transitions, at least. A big improvement on the Casper David Frederick video, which it kind of acted as a successor to, being an art movement, so fun to make. And the timestamps here, 143, excuse my bad French pronunciation throughout the video. I tried my best and I think I pronounced the majority of the words correctly, but it's even worse than my Spanish skills, to be honest, my French skills. 309, I could have edited the Iwakura mission picture better. The only issue was all the ones online are pretty low resolution. I had to make do, but there's really no excuse for how fuzzy around the edges it looks. Would probably go back and cut that better. 358. As far as I can tell, the German Revolution of 1848 picture has no known artists. I tried searching for it, or I may have just overlooked it, but none that I could find. So if anyone knows who the artist is, I'd like to know it so I can give them proper credit if I ever use the picture again, because it's a very good picture. 431. I probably mispronounced chrysantheme. Apologies, I can barely pronounce chrysanthemum in English, so that's why it kind of sounds like a mesh of sound. 705. The origins of the term Japonisme is disputed. Clarity and Bertie began to use it around the same time, probably unknowing the other was using it to describe the same thing. I didn't want to make an issue over that. 1240. If you're curious, the episode of Samurai Champloo I referenced is episode 5 about Japonisme and Vincent van Gogh. Definitely not historically or culturally accurate to the time period. It is interesting, so I definitely say check it out because it's an interesting Japanese view on the phenomenon. Definitely a very different style I took with the lingua franca video. Much more, I would say, animation, but not really. It's very primitive animation, more like a slideshow with a lot of movement. Debatable how well it turned out, but I feel like it's a solid video. Research was very important with it. Kind of hard to gather it all together, but I think I dug for enough sources, and some of the information is debatable, but I think the whole is cohesive enough to make a solid argument. 36 seconds. The segue into the video is very abrupt. We'll probably prove that. It cuts out way too quick, and the noise is just weird. I just don't like how it transitions in the video. 1 minute. It can be pronounced as Franca or Franca for both. My pronunciation changes throughout the video, but it doesn't mean anything. It's the same thing. I'm referencing the lowercase and uppercase pronunciation. It's just grammatically they're different. In context, you can generally make out which one I'm referencing. 533. Franco as a language is very poorly tested. Very few sources I can find on it, so it may be more of an obscure academic term. I'm not sure if it's even being used properly. I at least use it to refer to early lingua franca, which I'm not sure if it is correct, and I'm not sure if there was legitimately ever a language called Franco. It's debatable, but at least that's what I found, so I used the term to refer to the early lingua franca used among the Crusaders. 553. Forgive my pronunciation of Cervantes and Rousseau's names. As already stated, neither my Spanish or French skills are very polished. 830. etymology of lingua franca is a very, very big controversy. I tried to present both widely accepted solutions. There's a few more, but they're not as widely accepted, so those two are generally the two you'll find, but it's debatable which one is which, and like I said, we'll probably never have an answer, so I'm just gonna leave that video on that note. The Todd Howard video, I had a lot of fun with this one. Tried to credit every video I used. Some of them may have escaped me. If you notice any, I tried to do it in order of how the videos are used in the description. I used a lot since Todd is such an interesting guy, but I felt like this video was one of my better ones up there, but not one of the best ones I made so far. Go watch this one and go buy Skyrim. So we'll get into the timestamps with that purchase. 137, I actually really like the Kneel Before Todd clip. It was a pain to get right, and I feel like it can still be better. I may go back one day and recut it, re-edit the audio, and upload it on its own. Not sure, but if that ever shows up on my channel, that's why. Just because I like the clip and I think it's an okay joke. 333, I did actually go through and record Todd's screen time for each E3. I should say it's not for how long he's on camera, but for how long his segment lasts in each presentation. 5 minutes. The archives I reference are definitely not solid evidence for when Todd posting emerged, since I remember people doing it in some forms way earlier. Each site varies in how far it goes back, but it's the best source I could scrounge up for its origin. Like, it doesn't have a solid one, it is more of a mimetic origin where people started doing it. 621, I say was high as nuclear trajectory, which I suppose is not grammatically incorrect, just sounds really awkward. I misspoke. It was supposed to be were high as nuclear trajectory, which at least sounds better on the ear. 925, the Napoleon Todd is not fan art or anything, it's actually in a Fallout. You can find it in Fallout 4, the game, I believe. Not sure if it's in DLC, but it's at least in there. I have no idea what it implies, but someone is at least somewhat aware of the joke on Todd's public relations. At least it's Napoleon, so I think that's what it implies. And the most recent video here, the Yu-Gi-Oh video, turned out way longer than I originally thought. Not as bad as the Shellmanazer video. Because of that, I tried not to bring in too much outside subject matter. I also haven't watched Yu-Gi-Oh in about a decade, so mistakes were going to be obvious. But it was fun to go back and look at some of it. I didn't use any footage because of how harsh YouTube is on Yu-Gi-Oh footage. Legendarily, it can get taken down really quickly, and they are very, very relentless on making sure it does not stay up. So I used stills just as a better safe than sorry, because I wanted the video to stay up longer than like 2 weeks. And let's go into the time marks here. 111, as far as I can tell, there's only about 3 pictures of Takahashi that exist on the internet. The guy's a ghost, so I went with the best one I could find, which, it works at least. 210, I did not want to go into the Millennium Items backstory in the series because it meant basically explaining the entire last arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! And because the series is 20 years old and I didn't want to waste that much time, I just kind of looked over it. 402, I tried to look up how to pronounce Ma'at, but that didn't really help, so I gave it my best. Still not good, but I think it gets the gist across. 416, I'm not sure if this is exactly what happens. I do remember the show making it a point that Bandit King Bakura is impervious to the Millennium Items or something along those lines. I don't really remember. 630, I also don't remember Bandit King Bakura's motivation. He was evil, and he kind of wanted to destroy the Pharaoh. The dub, I think, definitely changed that with the whole demon and evil. Because of that, I don't know. Still generally derived from Set, though. Not really much I can say on that. 718, the word Wajet and Wajat comes from Egypt, so that's why the pronunciation is weird. It's both, and it is both a goddess and a symbol, so that's why you see it referenced as different things, but both are associated with Horus. 1045, the word obelisk comes from Greek. It means nail, or more literally pillar, so the word's not even Egyptian. 1453, I say 3 newer cards, but only talk about 2 of them. I forgot the true name because it was barely worth mentioning and it's just an anime reference, so I just stuck it into the outro as a joke along with the creator of Light because I didn't really want to go over that. 15 minutes. I forgot Ra's Disciple and Mound of the Bound Creator actually showed up in GX way before they released his cards. I remember basically nothing about GX, and it's not even really worth mentioning. 1552. When I said Egyptian gods before Mot, I kind of burped, I think, because that's why it sounds so weird, and I wanted to keep that take because I could never make another noise like that again, so it carries across my disgust pretty well. 1715. Okay, the whole cult scandal on 5Ds. Would be interesting to make a video about that, but all the sources are in Japanese and there's really no solid English ones besides a sort of blog post I came across. It would be interesting to go over it, but because of the lack of solid evidence, I feel like there's a lot of things stagnating for clicks and subscriptions, but it definitely did happen and they did change the series because of that. So maybe I'll go more into it one day, but I'm not sure as of right now. So to finish up here, in conclusion, more videos coming, probably bi-weekly until September, in which I gotta get back to stuff going on in my life. 2 history videos then, and an internet video in the next few weeks. There should be a kind of extra test video coming out soonish. I want to say this weekend, but maybe early into next week. I don't know. Could even be the same day as when this goes up, but don't count on it. Twitter's up and will be on my main channel and my main channel of contact too. Probably will live tweet E3 and maybe other interesting stuff I come across when researching, maybe even leaks, teases about upcoming videos. Really like making videos, trying to stick to my schedule and make the best out of it, but sorry for the wrestling and my fluctuating audio. Should get better at least. I'm trying to improve. Hopefully people keep on watching this channel and I hope you guys like it.